How are y'all doing, challengers? Welcome back to another episode of SNTRY's Caster's Notes. I'm your caster for today, Chrui, and now we're gonna talk about the patch note 4.04, aka Yoru's rework. So before we kick off things, let's talk about the patch first. It says here, it's a part of episode 4, Act 2, and it starts with the promised Yoru overhaul as a reshape of the controller role. We are talking about agents Astra, Brimstone, and Omen. Oh, and also Viper. Here we have the examples of what's in store for us. So here we have the Icebox rework here on B side, and also we have also reworks on A as well. And of course, the major update of today's patch is Yoru. And here are the following agents. Again, Astra, Brimstone, Omen, and Viper. So what are the agent updates that we have here? You have the general updates is that we have the improved system used to place abilities at targeted ground locations. For example, we have Omen's Shrouded Step, his TP, Viper's Pit, Chamber's Trademark and Rendezvous, every Killjoy ability, Yoru's Gate Crash, and Sage's Barrier Orb. Moving on to the first controller we're going to be talking about is Omen. So, Omen Smoke, aka the Dark Cover. We're talking about a buff here for Omen. So, a good news for Omen mains here. He's buffed again because he was nerfed because he was too OP before, but now he is buffed. Talking about that smoke, the cooldown is now decreased to 30 seconds, and the cost, it became 150 credits, so a little bit more expensive than usual, but the projectile speed is now increased from 2800 to 6400. So we're talking about fast pops for his smoke. Definitely a good update for him, a good rework for him as well. The Shrouded Step now costs 100 now, and also the pre-teleport delay is decreased for now 0.7 seconds, which means if you teleport, you're now faster than usual. So here we have also his Paranoia. It added a forward spawn offset, so players adjacent to Omen are not hit. We're talking about those teammates who stick way too close to Omen and gets blinded. Moving on to the next agent, we have Brimstone. Brimstone, his Sky Smoke. Let's talk about his iPad first, the one on his wrist. When you smoke, use his skill called Sky Smoke. Well, you can now smoke from a wider angle now in his iPad or his Apple Watch. Some players might call it. The deploy time is now decreased to 1 second. 1 second, I mean. It means that it's faster now, and the deploy radius is increased to 5,500. The smoke height is increased, meaning that it's now wider and bigger, and it matches the other controllers' smokes. And also the stim beacon now also applies a 15% speed boost in addition to rapid fire. So you're going to be quick while also shooting very, very fast. And here we have Astra. Ooh, bad news for Astra mains here because major nerf has been done to Astra. Her stars are now reduced to 4 rather than the normal 5. Cooldown on retrieving a star is increased from 14 seconds to 25. Astra can now pick up play stars during the buy phase and refund their charges immediately. Max distance of star placement has been increased as well from 10,000 to 30,000 to allow her to place stars across furthest corners of maps. Gravity Well cooldown is now increased to 45 seconds, and the Gravity Well is size decreased has been decreased to 475. Sorry about that. The Gravity Well now no longer affects anyone fully underneath the Gravity Well, so that's been a common problem for most players. You're gonna get stunned, you're gonna get pulled from up above, even if you're staying underneath. Talking about that, also the Nova Pulse cooldown has been increased to 45 seconds, so players are going to be waiting for a much longer time just to activate or reuse again another star for a Nova Pulse or a Gravity Well. So that's a major downer for Astra mains. Talking about the Nova Pulse, the Nebula, I mean. Cooldown also has been increased from 14 seconds to 25, while Nebula cooldowns are now sequential instead of simultaneous. It means that once the other one has been finished cooling down, and the other one also is going to start cooling down as well. So it's not going to be like before, it's all going to be finished at the same time. But the size has been increased from 410 to 475. And last but not least, the Astral Form. While in Astral Form, pings are no longer blocked by level geometry that Astra cannot see. Astra's targeting ring in Astral Form is reduced to one ring that reflects the now unified size of all her utility. And Astra's targeting ring no longer randomly disappears when aiming across some map locations. Increase the speed of the overlay that covers Astra's screens when transitioning in and out of Astral Form. And last, fixed an issue where stars were placed slightly above the location Astra was targeting. So Astra got a bit of a balance and also a bit of a nerf as well. So major downer here for Astra mains. And now moving on to the last controller, we have Viper. Her fuel now has been changed as well. Fuel is increased by 50% when toxic screens and poison clouds are both active. It means that when you both activate the smoke, the cloud, and the wall, the draining will be faster because you're using both utilities for its fuel. And now it turns red also when she does not have enough fuel to activate her abilities. And talking about her skills, her utilities as well. Once you get hit by that KO knife, back before, you're gonna have to wait for it to be deactivated. But now, once you get hit by that suppression, immediately the toxic screen and the poison cloud will be now deactivated as well. And now moving on to the toxic screen, cooldown after deactivating increased to 8 from 6 to 8, and the cooldown timer now starts when her smoke starts dissipating instead of when the deactivation telegraph plays. The activation delay decreased from 1 to 0.8, and the toxic screen now has yellow lights that indicate when it is on cooldown. And here we have again the poison cloud. Cooldown after deactivating is increased also to 8 from 6 to 8, and then cooldown timer now starts when her smoke starts dissipating instead of when the deactivation telegraph plays. And also deactivation delays decreased from 1 to 0.8. And also remove the delay on poison orbising when Viper is suppressed, as I said earlier. And now moving on to the snake bite, the duration is now decreased from 6.5 to 5.5. Yeah, because they have an issue on that Viper molly being too long, But hey, that's good. Viper has been also balanced out, so pretty good balance here. Moving on to the main event, the main news for this patch is now we have Yoru. So let me get a few rundown here. Let me read this to you. Yoru is here with a few more tools in his belt, ready to gate crash his way back into your hearts. Hey, a bit cheesy there, but shit. Fake Out is now a mirror image of Yoru and should help with adding a way to punish deactivated enemies. Deceived enemies. So let's talk about the Fake Out, major update, major rework. Before the Fake Out used to be 2, now it's only 1, and it only used to be footsteps. Now it is a clone of Yoru. But once you try and destroy that clone, or once you try and kill it, or eventually kill it, it will face you in the direction where you shot it from, and it will activate a flash. And the HP of this decoy or clone is also 150. And meanwhile, the right click to place a stationary marker for the decoy is still there, but it's now reactivated similarly to footsteps to create the decoy that runs forward. It can be deceiving, but you'd know if it's a fake out or a real Yoru since it only runs on a straight line. It doesn't look anywhere or at anything. It just runs forward. But when you hit it, it will look at you and you will get flashed, and you'll see a cone. But hey, I think it's gonna be easy to dodge that flash, but you have to be quick enough to at least dodge it. Now let's move on to the gate crash. Here we have the charges increased from 1 to 2, and the cost is now 200 credits. Cooldown charge refresh removed, and it switched back to 2 kill reset. So once you get 2 kills now, just like any other agent who has the 2 kill reset, yeah, just like that. Gate crash can be faked now by pressing F. But hey, even though it's an OP strat to fake the gate crash, players can still know that you faked it because there will be like a small puddle underneath that they'll see it and they'll know that you faked it. So that's good, a good balance, not too OP, not too weak, just in the middle. It's mid, you know? And it also will play an audio and a portal visual as if yours attempting to teleport. So good on that. It also, time it takes for teleport beacon has been decreased to 1.5 to 0.5 seconds. And the teleport beacon in game's audio while traveling reduced is now to 22.5 now to 12.5 meters. So you have to really get up close to it to either hear or see the gate crash. And the teleport beacon speed has been increased from 675 to 800. That means it can travel faster than it usually did. Upon activating a fake teleport, the beacon creates a small decal on the floor. Yes, it lasts for 30 seconds to indicate the location of the fake teleport. Moving on to the dimensional drift, the duration is increased from 8 to 10 seconds, and Yoru is not revealed to enemies. Although he'll not be revealed, but you'll hear footsteps when he comes close to you. And Yoru is now able to cast all utilities out of his ultimate. Imagine that. You're in Yoru's ult. You're using Yoru's ultimate and you can flash, you can use the TP anywhere. That was pretty OP. And they removed the nearsighted debuff as well. So you can see the whole map even when you're in his dimensional drift ult. But enough about the agents, let's move on to the map updates. Here we have Ascent. The B orb can now be taken from the lower box. Previously, you had to double jump up to the box to get it, so that's good. Time consuming to just jump up that box to get it, but now we can just get it, you know, from down below. Now moving on to Icebox. I've heard from this patch that a lot has happened to Icebox. So let me talk about that. Let me read this for you guys, the description. This set of Icebox updates are focused around B side and adjusting some of the problem spaces throughout the map. And stay tuned for an upcoming article where map designer 𝘊𝘢𝘴𝘵 dives deeper into these changes and what we hope to see from Icebox in the near future. And as an Icebox lover myself, you know, I love these updates for Icebox. So let's move on and talk about B Green. Changes to B Green lane are focused on improving attacker options and making them space more comfortable to play in, because before it was a little bit too cramped, a little bit just too narrow. Now they increased the space, gave him more space, especially the doorway to garage has been moved. It is now in that small cubby area, and they also increased that area to play with, so people can play more angles more patiently without over peaking or ego peaking too much. And now moving on again to B Green, moving forward, I mean, the small cubby there where we can hide, it's been moved a bit further, but a little bit longer as well, more lengthier, I mean. So more angles definitely, and probably balanced as well for both attacker and defenders. And again here, a B-side rework for yellow. Since the cargo crate slanted before, it was slanted before, now it's just straight up a parallel line to B Green. It's just a straight line now, 0 or 180 degrees, and they added that two crates, I believe. Two crates there, and yes, we can call it tall box with yellow. And yeah, a better angle, I believe, for the defending side. I mean, you can hold it from the other side as well and stay close up inside towards those two boxes stacked up onto each other. And now moving on to site, a major rework here for site because the top side has been changed as well. There are no ropes now, actually. You cannot go up there from site. No, excuse me, there's still a rope, but it's just moved on to the very far right of the top side. And the bottom side now, no, there's no tube underneath, no Rage and Night crates anymore. I believe it's just a screen there, an LED screen there projecting something, I think the solar system perhaps. And definitely the site is a lot bigger than before, meaning more angles and newer strats, newer meta. And let's see how this will pan out on the future VCT matches. And moving on to the CT side spawn, the outside of kitchen facing to the defending spawn. The crane structure there, the building in back B has been closed off. It was open before, They said that they want to encourage attackers to push further and not just to hold space off for that little hut underneath that and snowman. And they also changed the plant zone also has been a change. It has been adjusted since, this change is to encourage more spike plant diversity while retaining some safer defaults to work with. You also, guys, you can now plant inside that halls towards kitchen. So definitely we're going to see a lot new strats here for the post plant and also retaking. Let's talk about kitchen. Kitchen has been changed as well. It became wider. The entrance to kitchen up to back wall has been adjusted, so more angles and definitely a little bit more balance for the defending side as well, for the defenders, because whenever we try to retake kitchen, it's going to be a small angle and they're already going to be there for an off angle. But hey, now it's a little bit more balanced, a little bit wider, and it just feels more comfortable to play with. It's not too cramped up, and it's just easy. And now moving on to under tube, here we have crates added to orange to block the line of sight from under tube to danger or default. Because you can just plant there and you're gonna get popped off by someone or picked off by someone in under tube. And now they fixed that by adding 2 boxes on top of each other and blocks off the sight. Moving on to boiler, here we have boiler has been narrowed. Yeah, a little bit. They made it a little bit smaller, so players should find head peaks, and from ramp more, it could be more predictable. It will be easier to challenge people from playing in ramps to mid. So they bounced that out, made it a little bit narrower, and a lot more ego peaks now. Moving on to A side, that small thing where you can jump up on, when there's a sage wall, you can use that to jump above it. Now they replaced that with a crate, a Ragedite crate, I believe. It just covers back A and side has been adjusted, and this change should be giving defenders a little extra space to anchor on. And also moving up to pipes, before the attacking side has that little bench there to jump up onto to peek, backside, or at least rafters up and backside. They removed that so it have more advantages on the defending side. And moving on to screens, or A main as we call it, the wall has been lowered, adjusted, so the attacking people who would be taking A already, before they would have an angle peeking down onto CT. Now that has been changed. The wall has been lowered and a lot more retakes, and probably fewer frags off of that angle. And now moving on to competitive updates, they introduced a deterministic map system in Latam. The goal of the system is to increase the variety of maps that players will encounter. If there are no issues, we plan to activate the system. It's going to be explained below. I'm going to read it to you guys. Deterministic map selection follows 3 rules when picking a map after players have been selected to play a match. The system will look at all maps players have played over the last 5 maps for that mode. The system will remove any map that a player that has played twice in the past 5 maps or matches. The system will pick the least played map. If all maps have been removed due to the twice played rule, those maps will be added back to the pool and the least played map will be picked. So it's kind of an before it used to be an RNG system. Now it's based off players' experiences. But I think good on for Valorant for adding that, because people are getting tired of the repeating maps that have been given to us in competitive game mode. So good ups to Riot on that one. Now moving on to the bugs, here we have the agent bugs, a fixed issue where enemies wouldn't trigger Cypher's trapwire in rare situations. It's just a rare bug, a rare situation, but I'm glad that Riot fixed that one, because even the small things count. So good ups for them on that one. Kudos to them. And they fixed the boom not showing up for Astra if planted while in Astral Form. They also fixed the bug where Viper's toxic screen audio could play in the next round as if it's activated right on round on end. Fix Yoru's gate crash icon showing up as a big white circle on Brimstone's targeting map, and also fixed the bug where Chamber's teleport would sometimes fail when cast immediately after firing the last bullet of the Headhunter, aka the OP Sheriff. Last but not the least, they fixed the bug where Chamber's 34s would inconsistently spawn slow zones when firing at KO during null or command. Moving on to social features, they fixed an issue with the AFKs in escalation game mode. And esports feature, they fixed a bug where the timer would overlap itself while viewing the mega map as an observer. And lastly, the game systems, they fixed an issue where you could tap the scroll wheel to activate the diffuse audio without actually initiating a defuse. I myself, I used that exploit, but hey, they fixed it, so a bit of a balance there. And that's all for patch 4.04. But you know what? The thing that I like most about here on this patch is that they fixed Omen, because I used to be an Omen main, and it's really a pain in the ass when they slow the smoke down and made everything a lot more, just ass. And also Yoru, I'm really excited to play Yoru to play in competitive. Sadly, he was deactivated earlier because he had a little bit of a bug there. But hey, I'm also a Yoru main before, and I think I'm gonna enjoy playing him right now because it's actually an OP rework for Yoru now. And other than that, other agent fixes, nerfs, buffs. Competitive will be a new experience for us players to this act. And also for Icebox, major changes in B side, a bit of a balance and a bit of a mid update. But hey, we're all glad that it happened. Also for Yoru, everybody's glad that rework happened, and that's just it. My thoughts on this patch. Overall, a good patch. I rate it 8 out of 10. A bit of a bias for that Yoru rework because I really love Yoru. But hey, that's it. So thank you guys for watching, and tune in to the next episode. My name is Chrui, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. Peace.